Very good. I call to order the special meeting of the Common Council for Friday, September 4th, 2020. Clerk?
9 are present, Your Honor.
We have a quorum and we'll proceed. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
To the republic
to the
for which it
republic
stands,
for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. To approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf to approve the minutes of the August 18, 2020 meeting. Any corrections? Seeing no requests, all
Mayor?
in favor?
Mayor,
Yes.
just, I apologize, I didn't have a chance to review them, but in case it's not noted, I just need to make sure that I'm abstaining on the votes that involve GB real estate investment. Because there was one, and I'm not sure that my signal was being lost up in the mountains.
Okay, very good. We will make certain of that. Any other requests? All right, all in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. You guys have it. The minutes have been approved. Approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf. Any changes there? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. On to the report of the Redevelopment Authority, August 25th, 2020.
Motion to approve.
Approve.
Second.
Moved by Alder Dorf, seconded by Alder Scannell. And I think we'll just go to Interim Director Cheryl Rainier-Wigg and Director Ellen Becker to provide council with an overview on the items before us.
Thank you. And thank you all for making the meeting this morning. I really appreciate it. There's a lot of things on the agenda today. There's the reports of the JRB and the RDA, and then there are some resolutions that we need to pass. One of them specifically by the 6th of September, and the other ones this year. So I sent the email out to you with the PowerPoint from the RDA. Really what this is a TID plan for 6 TIDs. And if I can share my screen. Celestine, can you allow me to share the screen?
Cheryl,
Yep.
I need to make you a co-host in order for you to share your screen. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
And I'm going to jump in also. Again, I appreciate that you also took your time to, we apologize for the last minute notice. Through Wisconsin Department of Revenue, we normally have normal deadlines for TIDs, for amendments and changes and ads and news. And what happened is this, one of the TIDs is going to close within 5 years. It's a mandatory term date. So you have to make changes, allocations, amendments prior to 5 years, the end of the term date. And it kind of snuck up on us. The last date in which we can make any allocations, changes, amendments is 9/6 of 2020. And so it kind of fell outside of our normal timeline and windows. And so if we want to make this allocation is in that resolution, unfortunately, we have to make it by the 6th or we're not allowed to do it. And so it snuck up on us. We were working with DOR, verifying that everything correct. And it came to our attention. So again, one resolution has to be met by Sunday. And so we appreciate you pulling in this meeting together. And again, this is very similar information that you saw last year. It's really a repeat of the same plan that Director Vonk showed you a year ago. And so the plan hasn't changed. We've been on this track for more than a year. And in some cases, Wisconsin Department of Revenue had just said that many of the things we tried to get approval last year for has to be done within the year it's going to happen. So that's why you're seeing some of the very similar information, very similar resolutions. It's really the same plan. Plan hasn't changed. We just have to stay on the line of Department of Revenue. So that's why you're really seeing it again. And that's why we're approving 6 resolutions now. And actually, there's going to be 3 terminations that we have to wait now. We have to do our allocations because we can't allocate and term in the same meeting because you don't have time to do the allocations. So we will be meeting one more time in spring to discuss this. But again, appreciate your time.
Thanks, Director.
So the screen in front of you shows the TIDs that we're talking about. And, interrupt me if you have any questions. I'm not going to go through all of the stuff I went through at the RDA unless you want me to. This is kind of the big view picture. TID 7 is the Legends District. And what we're looking to do is to move money from TID 7 over into TID 9. And I guess, let me start with, this is all premising around TID 9. TID 9 is a TID that is the 54-57 TID. It has not been a successful TID. It was started with good intentions, but unfortunately it hasn't panned out. TID 9, I can show you, I believe is out here. One out. Getting there. TID 9. This is the one that's on the far east side. And so we haven't had development with TID 9, unfortunately. We've tried. Industry has not been wanting to go that far out. And of course, big boxes kind of really did not do well after 2008. So in order for us to terminate this TID, we need to have some allocation amendments from the other TIDs to close TID 9 down. So the allocation amendment is that we're looking to get into TID 9 is 2.7 million. And that's coming from TID 7, TID 8, and TID 12. And then, so the whole reason for doing this is the 9. And if you see, I'll show you TID 12. TID 12 is our I-43 area, and it's one of our successful TIDs. So this one, we actually don't want to terminate next year. We want to terminate in 22, but there's going to be an allocation that's going to come out of TID 12 that's going to go into 9. This is the TID that we need to vote on today for sure, because if we don't, we can't move this money out of 12 into 9, which kind of changes the plan for all of the other TIDs. So I guess I'll ask you how much detail would you like me to get into with the TIDs?
Well, maybe we could just open it up to Alders if they have questions. Yeah, and I am, just so folks know, I am monitoring the speakers list in Civic Clerk, which is easier for me to see than if people are raising their hands. So we'll go ahead and press your button or just request to speak.
Mayor, this is Chris. Can I ask you a question? I just want to make sure I have the attendance correct because a couple more popped in, so I want to reflect that. So I see Jesse Burnett is here and Alder Burnett and Alder Corpus Dax. Is Kathy Alder LaFave? I can't see. I think she's the only one missing then.
Jeffries. Can you see?
Yeah, give me a second. Cheryl, can you stop sharing your screen for a second, please?
Yep, sorry.
So I think it's just.
I don't see her. She usually calls in a 468-6191, I believe. I don't see that telephone number.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Clerk. Alder Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Director Grenier, I know this body had previously approved the closure of TID 9, but one of the things I'd like you to maybe just cover in the spirit of transparency, the amount of money that we are looking to transfer over there is to fund, obviously, deficiency in that TID. Could you maybe enlighten us a little bit about what that funding was used for? I presume it was used for public infrastructure improvements, but could you maybe confirm that?
Indeed, TID 9 was. I believe the money that was used, and Diana, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we did do infrastructure improvements out in 54, 57. And I believe that is what the money primarily was used for.
Okay.
Yes.
And the reason I bring that up is because obviously we don't like to see TIDs upside down. That's never our intent going into them. But in this particular instance, it's not like the public, completely went without any benefit. We still have public infrastructure out there that will be able to be utilized at some point in the future when we reactivate them. And then the other thing, if you could touch on for us, is the affordable housing resolution. And I know we talked about this on the phone a little bit yesterday. When we passed this previously, which I believe was a unanimous vote by the council, essentially we just had to bump this forward because it has to be passed in the year where that funding is going to be used, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And
So
I think,
for affordable housing, I can give you the amounts if you'd like. That would be helpful.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
gonna ask.
affordable housing, yep. TID 7, that extension will be $765,000. TID 8 will bring in $310,000. Those are the resolutions we're talking about today. That's a little over $1 million. And then next year, I believe we're going to look at TID 12. Extending that will bring in 2.1 million. So for affordable housing, we looked at 3.1 million, basically almost 3.2. That would be used for affordable housing off of TID extension.
and that funding is, I presume, the aggregate of all 4 taxing jurisdictions, correct?
Correct.
Which we can capture for 1 year.
Correct.
Okay, and then if I'm not mistaken, that is slightly more than what we had, what we taken on last time. And you please do correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the Joint Review Board rejected the closure of one of those TIDs and wanted to leave it open for 1 more year. And that was TID, was it TID? And then, so my question is are we closing one additional TID beyond what we did last time, or has none of that changed?
I don't believe anything has changed. TID 17 did get closed as a 1/1 of 20, so that is no longer being discussed, but that was a very small, like 4 parcels on North Broadway, north of the NEW shelter. So that was part of the plan last year, but it's complete. DOR has confirmed just this past week that TID 17 closed, done. That's why we discussed it in, again, Director Vong's package, but it's really done. We have no action we have to take on that anymore. I think that's the only change that you're probably seeing. The JRB did table the extension for TID 14. It already has a termination date out into 2030, and we just want to make sure if we're going to put out longer development agreements that we gave them more. We had the approval to go out 3 more years, but that's the only thing that they have tabled, is just not the extension of 14.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate the clarification. All right, I strongly support this, just as I did last time. I think there are so many upsides to what we are doing with this. And obviously I'd encourage the rest of council to support it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Alder. Appreciate the comments and questions. Any other comments or questions from alders? All right, seeing none, we have a motion to approve and a second. All those in support will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. So now we are on to the report of the JRB.
Second.
Motion made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf to approve. Any discussion here? All in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay, the ayes have it. The report of the JRB has been approved. And now we are on to the resolutions.
Suspension of the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stevens to suspend the rules, take up items 1 through 6 with 1 roll call vote. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stoyer to adopt resolutions 1 through 6. Any further discussion before we move to the board? All right, seeing none, we'll use the board.
Alder Corpus Dax, could I get a voice vote, please?
Yes, and yes.
Right, and the resolutions are adopted 11-0. On to onto petitions and communications. Any petitions or communications from alders? Any at all? All right,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn made by Alder Scannell,
Second.
seconded by Alder Steuer. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a nice weekend, all.
Okay.
Thank
care.
you.
Bye-bye.